I'm a multimillionaire. I can buy a house in cash today if I wanted to. But here's the twist. I don't own a house, and I don't plan to, at least, not for now. That probably sounds insane, right? Because for most people, owning a house is the dream, the goal, the ultimate proof that you've made it. You grow up hearing things like, don't waste money on rent, buy a home as soon as you can. Real estate is always a smart investment, but I'm here to tell you something different, something most people won't. Owning a home for me would be a setback, not a milestone. Let that sink in for a second. I've had people question my choices. I've had family members say, but you have the money. Why not just buy? Here's why. The way I live, the way I think, and the way I build wealth doesn't align with being tied down to one place. I value freedom. I value options. I value movement. And owning a house, a big, beautiful one, may look good on Instagram, but behind the scenes, it can quietly drain your finances, your flexibility, and even your mental space. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to explain exactly why I, a multimillionaire, don't own a house, and why you might want to rethink the traditional idea of homeownership, especially if you're chasing true financial freedom. This isn't just about money, this is about mindset, so stay with me. This might just change the way you think about wealth forever. Let's talk about this idea we've all been sold since childhood, that owning a house is the ultimate achievement. You grow up, get a job, save for a down payment, and then buy your dream home. That's the plan, right? But here's the truth. Nobody talks about buying a house doesn't automatically mean you're winning in life. For many people, it becomes a golden cage. It looks beautiful on the outside, but it locks you into one place, one routine, and one set of expenses for decades. And it's not just the mortgage. It's the maintenance, the taxes, the insurance, the repairs, the upgrades, the renovations, the furniture, the lawn care. It never ends. You become tied to a lifestyle that constantly demands more money and more attention. I've seen people stretch their budgets just to say they own something, living paycheck to paycheck just to keep up appearances. And if you're young, ambitious, or entrepreneurial like me, being rooted to one location might actually slow you down. I've lived in cities around the world. I've rented luxury apartments in Dubai, stayed in Airbnbs in Bali, and worked from penthouses in London. And I've done all of that without the stress of property ownership. Renting gives me flexibility. It lets me move with opportunities. And most importantly, it keeps my capital free so I can invest in things that actually grow my wealth instead of just locking it up in bricks and walls. So when people ask me, why don't you just buy a house? My answer is simple. I'd rather build freedom than build walls. Let's talk numbers, because emotions aside, buying a house is one of the biggest financial decisions most people will ever make. And for many, it's not actually a smart investment. Here's why. When you buy a home, especially your primary residence, you're not buying an income-generating asset. You're buying a liability. Yes, the value might go up over time, but so do the costs, mortgage interest, property taxes, insurance, maintenance, repairs, renovations. It all adds up. Let's say you buy a $500,000 home. With interest and other expenses, you could end up paying $800,000, $900,000. Over 30 years now, ask yourself, is that the smartest place to park that much money? What if you invested that same amount into index funds, startups, or real estate that actually produces monthly cash flow? That's how I think. Every dollar I spend must either protect my freedom or increase my wealth. And for me, tying up hundreds of thousands into a house I live in doesn't meet that standard. I'd rather rent a luxury apartment for a few thousand a month, keep my capital liquid, and invest it in high-return assets. Renting isn't throwing money away. It's paying for flexibility, freedom, and peace of mind. And trust me, I've done the math. The idea that rent is a waste and your home is your biggest investment was created in a time when real estate behaved very differently. Times have changed, and so should the way we think about money. So while others are focused on owning walls and roofs, I'm focused on owning equity, cash flow, and freedom. That's how wealth is really built. Let's forget money for a moment. Because for me, it's not just about dollars, it's about freedom. Owning a house ties you down. You've got roots, but no wings. I didn't want to wake up every day looking at the same four walls. For the next 30 years, I wanted to wake up in Bali one month, and maybe Dubai the next. I wanted to work from a beach cafe in Thailand, then brainstorm business ideas in a co-working loft in New York. That lifestyle, that mobility wouldn't be possible if I owned a house. When you own, you're responsible. When you rent, you're flexible. I don't need to worry about fixing a leaking roof or renovating a kitchen. My time goes into my businesses, my health, my relationships, and my growth, not into managing a property. And because I'm not locked down, I can follow opportunities. A new project in London. I go, a brand partnership in Singapore. I fly out next week. Owning nothing has given me everything. Freedom of choice, freedom of movement, freedom to explore what life really has to offer. That's the trade most people miss. They chase comfort and end up sacrificing Possibility, they buy into the idea of settling down, when deep inside, they want to rise. Up. I chose a different path, and I've never been more alive. Home isn't where you own a house. Home is where you feel free, and for now, freedom is my address. So now, you know, I don't own a house, not because I can't, but because I choose not to. I've learned that real wealth isn't measured by what you own. It's measured by how freely you can live. Most people chase ownership thinking it brings security, but sometimes, ownership brings responsibility, pressure, and limitation. I chose freedom over furniture, experiences over extra square footage. Now, I'm not saying you should never buy a house. There's nothing wrong with homeownership if it aligns with your life, your values, and your goals. But don't do it just because everyone else is doing it. Don't do it because your relatives say it's the grown-up thing to do, and definitely don't do it if it means sacrificing your financial freedom or mental peace. I'm building wealth, not walls. I invest in assets that grow, not ones that trap me. And when the time comes, when it truly makes sense for my lifestyle, maybe I'll buy a house. But until then, I'll keep doing what works for me, living free, traveling light, investing smart, and staying focused on what really matters. If this video gave you a new perspective, if it challenged what you thought about money or success, then do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this with someone who's still stuck in the own a home or fail mindset. This is just the beginning. Let's redefine success together.